Panther Nation, the C3 podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
We're gonna go out there and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win, because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to lose.
This embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding, and that's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what's up, Panther Nation? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. This is the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I do it each and every week with some of my favorite peoples, and I'm here with Joe Riolano, that freaking Puerto Rican. What is up, my man?
Tony, it is a beautiful night here in Charleston, South Carolina. I am pumped and ready to talk about some Carolina Panthers football. We wish Mel the best of luck with whatever he's got going on tonight. He wasn't able to make the show, but we have our good friend and a huge contributor to the C3 website, who's becoming a very much a regular on our show, Trip Morgan. What's happening, buddy?
Not too much, man. Not too much.
How was, Trip was just in your stomping grounds, Joe.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him and his girlfriend. Okay, your wife at some event down, looked like you were not too far from a beach.
Yeah, we were, I got family down in Mount Pleasant, Charleston.
Okay.
And then my cousin was getting married, my first cousin, and the old Wide Awake plantation down in Hollywood is probably about 45 minutes from you.
Yeah.
That's where the wedding was at. And they own the shelter, kitchen and bar right there at Shem Creek.
Oh, yeah. I've heard some great things about that place, man. I mean, great things.
Yeah, it's a really cool spot. But, the weather was beautiful, just like you said it would be.
Yeah.
Real nice. Had a blast, as always. I love that city.
Awesome.
Right, guys, tonight's show is episode 17.8. It is Panther Nation celebrates a National Day of Remembrance. Now, there's going to be we do have to touch on some very important news that is not as much as a celebration, maybe a celebration of life, but the reason the name of tonight's show is a National Day of Remembrance is because today is our first holiday in Panther Nation history, I think, and that is 3/28. Today is 3/28, folks, and
beautiful.
It is celebrating, Joey. I'm not sure if you know this, but the Falcons going into the fourth quarter were up 28-3. Take that, 3/28. Remember it. It's wonderful. It is a day that we will remember and we will celebrate probably forever, or at least until we win our Super Bowl.
As much as we can.
In Europe, they do date first and then month. So in Europe, it would be 28-3.
Yeah, that's right. They do. That's exactly how they do it. It's kind of the oddball. And so we
do Panther fans, baby.
Yeah. Trip, you are going to have to speak up a bit. Somebody said you're a little quiet in the chat room. But we got some interesting things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the owners' meetings. We're going to be talking about the latest and very secret Dave Gettleman comments that were made to the media only. But we have no video of these, and so to me, I think they're interesting, and I'll be looking into them, or we'll be talking more about them. He talked about Kelvin Benjamin. He talked about trading Kony Ealy and some things like that. Now, the reason, though, today is another day of remembrance. Joey, our dear friend Lynn, Legacy Line Lynn Lienhart, her husband suddenly and unexpectedly passed away, and I know that she is going through a, how could it not be a very emotional and difficult time for anyone. I am encouraged by how much of a support that friends have offered her, even if it's just emotional or sentimental support. It has been big, but I know, Joey, this has touched you specifically as well.
Oh yeah, it's really touched me in a big way because I am, I'm chronically ill, and anybody can go anytime, but those who are chronically ill have a higher chance of passing. So I relate to this in a manner of you never know when your time is, so it's important to show the ones you love that you love them. Take care of the ones who you have an opportunity to care for, because you just never know. Life is precious and can be gone in an instant. And I just want Lynn to know that she is in my prayers. I am deeply, deeply saddened by what she's enduring right now. But God is good. He has tremendous grace, and He has tremendous compassion, and He will always, always be there in times of need. And I'm sure she's aware of that. We sent a small token of our sympathy to her, and it's something we do because we care and we love her as a friend. She's become a friend of the website and a personal friend.
Yeah,
she's been so good for us and for us.
It's something that is very. I won't say it's surprising, but it was surprising initially to me, Joey, when we started making friends through talking Carolina Panthers football on social media in various outlets, right? And how genuine of those types of friends we actually forged in a place where, really people are kind of jerks on the internet a lot of times. And feedback. But it is like it can be a place where there is such anonymity that people act a fool, and it was really refreshing and nice, kind of a nice sign to humanity for me when I saw just how much people truly care about people that they've never even met. That they've met, that they care for this concept of a football team. They care genuinely about the players that they cheer for, and they truly do care about the people that they interact with on a daily basis. And I don't wish, I'm very happy this isn't lip service. This is really true. Like, I've met people through this that I haven't known personally for very long, but probably are some of my better friends that I've ever had in my life. Think about how important Mel is to us.
Right.
And most of the time, we've only met him in person like once.
Right. Right. Well, everything else has been through text message, conversations on the Hangouts, phone calls. We've never actually been together more than, I think it was overnight.
Right.
When we went to the Jacksonville game a couple of years back. But yeah, it's the Panthers are simply a common string that we all have, something that we share a love for, but it is the Panthers that allow these friendships to form, and it sort of is what bonds and allows they're the cement, if you would, in these relationships. And it's really, it is wonderful to see that there is, there are people out there that are not just jerks online, that people can genuinely be good people, and you get to know them through conversations on Twitter or over the phone, whatever the case may be. And Lynn is one of those people. We have several. She is one of them. And it's a tough time for her, and we can just simply offer her sympathies, empathy, and tell her, whatever we can do, and I mean it, whatever we can do, we want to make ourselves available to her.
I did have the pleasure of meeting Lynn this past summer. Joan, Abby. They organized a big trip for the girl gang to go to training camp, and I had the pleasure of meeting her. And not that I didn't already know this, but she's just a genuinely kind person, and very caring for other people. So we know that she has 3 kids that she's looking after. And they're older, but she said that like she has to be there for them, and I understand that. And her caring soul does care about everybody else, probably except for herself first. So just know we care about you, Lynn, and we pray that you get through this this difficult time, and that you're our friend. And that's about all I can say. All right, let's talk about the show, guys. You can follow the show using the hashtag @cat_chronicles. Using either the chat in Facebook Live or YouTube is probably the best way to communicate without having Mel here. I can flip over to Twitter, but it may just crash my whole computer at this point.
I'm on Twitter, so I am looking.
All right, cool. Is that on top of the new program that I'm running is just saying this, it says this: encoding overload, consider turning down video settings, but you can't. Once you're in it. So this is what we got to deal with. But if you enjoy the show, we encourage you to participate in the podcast, as well as subscribe, give us a listen on, or a like, a share on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button down there, tell a friend about the show, tweet about it, share it on Facebook, and even consider subscribing on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast. And if you are feeling super generous, you can go to the show notes in the YouTube, or go to our website and consider donating as little as $1 to help the podcast going, and to help this encoding software to not explode. $1 may help it. If not, then thanks for just listening. All right, guys, let's talk about some football. Owners meeting this week, and I gotta say this is I feel like, I've been cheering for the Panthers for a long time now, or I feel like it's a long time, as long as I can remember, really, as soon as I started watching football. But I feel like it's becoming a yearly thing where it's just like this sell the Panthers scare.
Mm-hmm.
Is that me? Is this something? This isn't new, is it?
Not at all.
Okay.
This is something that they've done for the last couple of years.
All right. They I feel like they tried to, at one time we thought it was a little scare tactic or a little extortion on Charlotte for the renovations of the stadium. Last year it was because, well, some of it surrounds Jerry Richardson and his health. But ultimately, again, some guy, Jason Lockenford, talked about how this was going to come up at the meetings. Joey, is this any concern to you?
No, I don't think so. I know Jerry Richardson tried to address the issue himself by saying, he's in great health. He loves this team and franchise in the city of Charlotte. And, it's just people being, making speculation. That's it. He has taken his sons away from the business. They used to work for the team. They no longer do. I do believe
that's the weirdest story to me. How do you kick your kids out of the business?
I think they were doing a crappy job, man, to tell you the truth. I think that's why he let them go, because they were doing an awful job. And he doesn't want to leave the team to guys that aren't going to run it right or don't know how to run it. I think that's what it is. So when there's no clear, I guess when there's no family heir to take over the reins, that makes people start to speculate. Well, they're going to sell the team. Who's going to buy it? Well, if he buys it, is he going to move it? Now, especially with the Raiders Oakland losing their team, I'm sure it's going to be probably something you hear a little bit louder.
I think that's what makes this a little scarier than normal for people. And I don't think anybody is truly scared about it, but the idea that it seemed at one point moving organizations seemed like a hollow threat because we hadn't seen it in a while. Like it hadn't been done since I'd been watching football, right? I mean, essentially, I guess 95 was the last time, right when the Panthers were getting started, where Oakland left LA and went to Oakland. Yeah. And I think it was 95. Maybe I'm wrong on it. But anyway, is that like it's been 2 decades and we haven't seen any movement of a team, and it just seemed like this isn't a possibility. Tripp, when you hear this type of stuff, does it get your blood boiling?
A little bit. I don't know about blood boiling. I think it's interesting. It definitely has been a topic. It seems like the last 5 years, every off season. But it's like you said. I think all the other team movings have really generated this a lot more. And then, of course, Richardson's health. I mean, that is, he is getting up there. He couldn't make the owners' meeting this season, off season. So I mean, it's something that's definitely going to be a little bit more heated. But Joe Person put out the tweet, the statement, and everything regarding that he has, no feelings towards selling the Panthers whatsoever. But I don't know how all that stuff works. I'm not that deep into it, so I won't debate too much on that. But it's definitely interesting, and it's always popping up. But I'm not concerned about it right this minute.
Cody on YouTube says that he heard his 2 sons hated each other and couldn't ever agree with it on anything. And then also that I think it Joan or someone mentioned, I saw maybe it was BS12 that said, it was BS12. Cody, he said that it has to be somebody sold outside of his family, has to be sold 2 years after he passes, is what is going as well. I don't think I did get a tweet from somebody that said, don't be fooling yourself if you don't think you could fall victim to this, is that the Oakland scenario shows that that teams can do this, particularly if they can't extort, is I think the words he used, a city into building a new stadium. Right. I do think, look, the Carolina Panthers stadium is relatively new. They have done these renovations, which were much needed. They are nice. I think it serves the functions that we need it to serve. Now, I could be wrong on that, but it seems to be a pretty cool stadium. On top of that, but he did mention that the median for stadiums in the league was 21 years.
Yes, that is correct. I do know the one thing with the Panthers doing all these renovations and stuff, that was one of the big things for it, was because, it's like you said, the median was, 20, 21 years, and they were clearly at that, obviously. And they've been dumping all this money in it partly because of that, because they needed those renovations, and they're hitting those spots. Now, obviously, we're not going to compare it to the Mercedes-Benz Dome or any of these, the new Minnesota Stadium, but it's something that should keep them around for years to come. And I think that's Richardson's plan. I mean, when they started these renovations, it was something he said going forward, and was talking about this when it got brought up a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm not concerned about this, but I will say that Jason La Canfora really took advantage. Well, maybe not. I mean, he's just doing his job, but the height of what's going on with the Oakland Raiders, definitely that feverness or that atmosphere didn't make us feel all that much better in talking about this or hearing these types of things. I think ultimately is that it has less to do with Charlotte, the stadium, and who that owner is. Who buys the team and what type of attitude they have. Do they have an allegiance to Charlotte, or do they try to find some larger market. I just don't think moving football teams is a good idea.
Well, it depends. I think it's hard. Let's look at Oakland, okay? Oakland, the city, and the NFL were trying to work out some type of deal where a new stadium could be built. Oakland didn't want to spend any money, which is understandable during the economic times that we're in. And Las Vegas said, "Here, we have $750 million we can give you toward a new stadium." So, of course, when the Oakland owner, Mark Davis, is like, "Yeah, I'm very interested in that $750 million. Screw the fans," basically is what he's saying. And that's what it boils down to, where the money is going to be. They think that with the Dynamite Stadium and a good team, which right now they have, that they'll be able to get these fans that are not loyal to the Raiders, that are just going to visit Vegas. They'll be able to get the stadium full, which is random people who happen to be visiting Vegas but want to go to a football game while they're there.
Trip, say something.
Go ahead. What was that?
Trip, say something.
Yeah.
Our audio connection is like stuck in a D right now.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
All right, here. This is what we're
What
gonna
do you
do.
think?
I'm gonna call you guys right back, and I'm gonna carry the show for a second without you. All right.
Okay, that's fine. Go.
All right. So, what we're gonna do is continue this show. Solo Tony, look at that. Look, you can see behind the curtain. You can see my screen right now. Hopefully, you can hear my audio fine. I'm going to call them back as we speak. What we're talking about is that money certainly can make a difference.
It's time to do it now.
Is it me or is it you? Who knew?
You're still breaking up on my end.
Yeah, you're still real bad.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Thank you, internet. All right. One more time. How did you guys got to leave, all right? Leave the call.
Go ahead and do what you have to do. We'll be fine.
Close it. No, the show can't hear you without me. Now.
Oh.
So you close your window. Behind the curtain, fellas. All right. So this is obviously us trying to figure out how to work more advanced tech. And come on, Suddenlink. Now I got 200 meg internet, and y'all should be able to hang with whatever the heck that I do. And you are not. All right, so the C3 podcast is rolling solo with Tony for the moment, and I have no idea why we're having so many problems with the internet. We'll move on with. God, this is terrible. Sound is awful, fellas.
Yeah, what happened? It was going so good, and then it just crapped out.
I don't know. Thank you, Suddenlink, dude. Hopefully it'll work. It'll come back. All right.
Could you tell? I mean, last week when we had the problem, it was clapping on our end, but the listeners said it was no problem, that it sounded clear on their end. You think that could happen?
No, they're probably hearing it right now because it is definitely something going on with my Suddenlink. Like, I'm pushing the boundaries of what the internet is allowing you to do. But I don't know. We'll just have to make do for a second, and hopefully it'll clear up. If not, we're just gonna have to close down shop early this week. All right, let's just plow through some stuff. Right away, Gettleman had a secret conversation. He comes out with the media. We have no video of this, but he comes out and says that they do plan on extending Kelvin Benjamin to his fifth year. This seems par for course, really. But I think this is a good move. I mean, obviously, but I do think that the Carolina Panthers are showing that that they have some, I guess, confidence in him, or that they're not upset at the moment, right?
Try unplugging your headset.
Unplugging my headset.
Yeah, just give it a shot. No, you're gone now. We can't hear you at all. But try, see if you can turn the volume on your mic up on your computer. And try not to use the headset. I don't know if you have to have them, but it was just a thought.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect.
So it's my headset.
Yeah, it's perfect.
All right. Okay. So anyway, what do you think about Kelvin Benjamin in the 5-year, fifth-year option?
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I'm sorry, I don't know who it was addressed to, but it was brilliant. That's why we drafted him, was as a first rounder, to get that extra year. And thankfully we have it, because he lost a year with that ACL injury. And now I think there's a little pressure on him, just a little bit, to come in this season and really show improvement from his rookie year, which was a very good year, and build upon that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you draft him the first round pick. You want to pick it up, and I think it's evident that the Panthers are going to try to bring in some more competition at receiver this year. So, I mean, I thought it was going to be an easy call. I didn't ever think they wouldn't pick it up.
Right.
What do you guys think about Benjamin? He's been taking a lot of flack from people.
Hard to say, man. He's coming off an ACL tear. That's what I keep telling myself. I mean, I know what he can do. It's just consistently doing it is the problem.
Right. And you know, he had a great rookie year. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. You know, you could have argued for rookie of the year if he I think he missed a game or two that year. So if he could have just been a little more productive. But truthfully, if you look at his numbers from 2014 or 2013, whenever we drafted him, his rookie year numbers, and then look at the numbers from last year, they're not that far apart. It didn't seem he was as explosive, but when you just look at the pure numbers, it was very close. So he does have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say he, the numbers this past year, he was 60 yards away from 1,000 on the season.
Right.
And he had, so in 2014, he had 73 catches for 1,008 yards, 9 touchdowns. This past season, coming off the ACL tear and recovery, he had 63 catches for 941 yards and 7 touchdowns. But he also averaged roughly a yard more per catch. So, I mean, the numbers weren't terribly off. It was a down year for the offense as well.
Yes.
Bad O-line, So
inconsistent running game.
Yeah, it's hard to down him so much. Now, he was still inconsistent at times.
Yes.
Where he looked lazy.
Right.
And I think that he needs to fix that. But he finished the season strong, which is telling considering the way the season went. So, I mean, obviously, you have to give him, another year before we can make a strong judgment on that.
Right. And I think, truthfully, when coming off an injury like that to your knee, it really does take more than an off season or 1 year to get better. It takes more time than that. And he's going to have a real chance this season to say, hey, look, I had a bad year because of that injury. Look how good I can be. And he needs to come in great shape. First thing, he's got to come in great shape. He needs to really learn to run routes well. That's something he doesn't do. He only runs a couple of routes, and once he does run, he needs to do extremely well.
I think too, guys, there is no possible world, and I think that T Money sent me a message on this yesterday. Is that why would you not pick up a first round pick who hasn't been awful fifth-year option, right? There's no sense
Exactly.
in
That's why
forcing
he
that
goes back
conversation
to
any earlier than needed. You get to see one more year out of the guy, and this isn't even the fifth year. This is going into the fourth, right?
Right.
So you still get time to see him and make further decisions about his role and what it is going to be in the team. But I think ultimately people have been far too hard on Kelvin Benjamin, and not maybe not hard as in like he should be getting more credit than he is, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that that what we've seen from Kelvin Benjamin is that he has put up 2 years that are close to, that are peaked right at 1,000 yards. He's had a significant knee injury. Everybody is downplaying how great they said he looked going into the 2015 camp. Like, everything you heard, tweets coming out of that before he got injured, was saying this guy is just getting better. He looks dialed in. And I guess it's funny to me because I'm the guy that likes to stir the pot a little bit, right?
Not you, Tony.
I push people's buttons on purpose sometimes, but I guess there is a slight hot take in me somewhere, but I feel like the people that are always saying, like, defending our Carolina Panthers to the end, like the Mike Tolbert and the this and that, are the same people that are really, like, fed up with Benjamin,
Right.
Which is strange to me. Like, where's the grace there?
Like, they're so quick to call him a bust when he's really only had 2 seasons. You cannot judge someone in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Right. And the guy has been all right.
Yeah. I mean, he's not had bad numbers. The numbers are not bad.
BS12 says, I'm hard on KB because he effed up his own signature on my $180 jersey. All right. That's the fairest criticism I've heard so far. No.
Did he mark a line through it and rewrite it? Because that might work.
Did he mark a line? He spelled somebody else's name.
He wrote Thomas Davis up there.
Yeah, Steve Smith. I think, and I think some people, maybe in this era that some of the expectations of people are slightly unrealistic.
Yeah.
But I will, in fairness to their criticism, as a number 20, as a first round pick, and I think this was really a lot of people's concern with him coming into the league, is that his ceiling, his roof, if you will, is lower than some other guys, but his floor was higher.
Yeah.
So I mean, just because of his sheer size, right, and the need for a receiver in Carolina, he could only be so bad, or so, what I'm saying? He's going to have some margin of success. But, I mean, if you want him to be Calvin Johnson, he's just not that player.
No.
No.
They're 2 different kinds of players. So you can't, it's not a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, that's asking a lot.
And I think, too, is that he's going, he got thrown into the category of Odell Beckham Jr. that year, Mike Evans, because those 3 guys had insanely great rookie seasons. And, right. And then, to keep it rolling, Odell Beckham Jr. has kept it rolling. Mike Evans has only gotten better, it seems like. And then everybody's kind of getting impatient with KB. This is what Cody writes. A recent analyst said Cam Newton's targets of non-separated receivers in 2016 was the highest in NFL. Our receivers get no separation. Yep. Now, here is another legitimate criticism, I think, of Benjamin and Funchess as well, is that they don't play as big as their size dictates at times.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. I could see why they feel that way.
And did we really expect KB to be better than Odell Beckham and Mike Evans coming into their rookie
Speak up,
season?
Trip.
Did we really expect KB and to be better than Odell Beckham and Mike Evans in his rookie season? I don't think I expected that.
Yeah, I don't think we should have. Yeah.
I mean, you can hope for that, but really sitting there and saying he doesn't outproduce them, he's a bust, is kind of strong, especially considering when was Beckham drafted? I can't even remember when he was he.
He was drafted. I think he was drafted earlier than KB.
I know Mike Evans was like one of the top prospects coming out.
Right. I think he was between Mike Evans and KB.
And we knew Odell was going to be explosive.
Right. There was no doubt about that.
Right, and he has been, but
and that was also wasn't that Brandon Cooks's, or was Cooks the year before?
Yeah. No, Cooks came out the same, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Wayne says the floor is the ground. Okay. That is, you know what? After I said it, it got even funnier. You know, because like I read it and I was like, all right, this good. And then I really got it as it sunk in. Okay, what else came out of that? Gettleman. All right, well, let's talk about the separation more. I think one of the things is that like Tripp is saying, I mean, seriously, did you think Kelvin Benjamin was going to be Mike Evans? He's not as fast as him, no. Mike Evans was fast and big. He was more like a Megatron type model to me than KB is. I think the problem with Kelvin Benjamin is I don't know if we've ever seen a receiver exactly that's easy to compare him to.
He's a big dude.
He's just a giant man.
I mean,
tight end big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Calvin Johnson.
That's how big he is. He could literally put on another 15 pounds, and he could be tight end size easily.
Yeah. I mean,
he's already, I think, though, with the separation thing, too, is the problem is he plays soft off the line a little bit.
He does.
It's like, all right, so he actually wins the catch downfield. He can win the catch downfield and contested catches. He plays big when the ball's in the air. But I feel like he gets knocked off his routes a little bit easier than he should. He gets jammed up at the line. And I'm ready, like you want him to have that tenacity in him to where he just like mauls a guy at the line and he's on his back. And he's running past him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were that big and you got a guy who's 5'10" and 40 pounds lighter than you, I feel like you should be able to just shove him right out of your way.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't have...
Go ahead. Go
ahead, Trip.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think that's like kind of what me and Joey were hitting on earlier was that's one of the things KB's inconsistent at. Like in the Tampa Bay game, the last game of the season, he's out there throwing guys around, beating everybody he comes up against. And then the next week, he doesn't want to finish his routes, causing interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's weak. He doesn't want to block anybody. But when he gets an attitude to him, he goes out there physical, and he's knocking around anybody he comes across.
Right. And that is just consistency. That's about being a veteran, knowing you always got to bring your A game. That's really what we're talking about there, and that's something that is learned. He's not just going to be able to jump in and do that right away. I think also he doesn't have that quick first step. That's a problem. So he does have to get more physical because he can't get around the guys. So he needs to use his strength and size better when trying to get that release. And hopefully with the new receiver coach coming in, he'll be able to help him develop that. Right. And I think that's another thing. We've got a new guy coming in that is just seeing these kids for the first time. He's got fresh eyes on them, and maybe he'll be able to get them, into better. Maybe he'll get them better prepared for games in having a new set of eyes and some coming from a young man, from the college ranks.
Like Matt Kalil, maybe a new look.
Yeah. Also, some people, another big receiver, and speaking of this, is that you're right, is that we didn't have a real diversity in our receiving core last year. And a lot of it, to be fair to these guys, is that the sets we run, a lot of times we run just 2 wide receiver sets.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not like you can only have so much diversity when you have Kelvin Benjamin out there. And by the way, he played like 70% of the snaps last year. He had a lot of playing time, Kelvin Benjamin. Even late in the year, they didn't bring it down. So if there was some frustration with the coaching staff and him, or more frustration, I thought we would have seen it there, in that they would have been rotating him out more. But they left him on the field a lot, right? So the other thing too is, though, that Funchess, you want to talk about a guy people are down on. People hate some Devin Funchess in Carolina. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've really gotten to see all that much of him, though.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you guys if you get a chance, Spence at Esoteric Cranium. I see here is the he has a picture of the error, the autograph error by KB on his $180 jersey. So if you get a chance, check that out. It is very erroneous.
Erroneous. He said too that he said that he also signed it on the front, and he said, "Who frames a jersey on the front?" Good point. Excellent point. And when you're getting people signed, you can't be like, "Hold up, look at what you're doing, buddy."
Flip that over, man. Come on.
Oh, that's funny. He said, "I'm going to get another one." I like that confidence. All right, but Funchess, a guy too that not a fast guy, maybe slower than Kelvin Benjamin actually.
Yeah.
They say more fluid of an athlete. I think this is that he didn't get all that many snaps.
No, he didn't. His playing time was, it seemed like less than it was the year before. So I think that has something to do with, maybe the coaches and what they see in practice. But he needs to get it together because, he'll be out. He doesn't have that 5th-year option. So he definitely needs to get it together. He is a better athlete. Well, at least he looks more athletic than Kate. He makes some tremendous catches sometimes, man. That guy has pulled out some catches, and I'm like, how in the heck did he get that? But that's not enough. You got to be committed to your art. You got to put in that time. You got to put in the film study. You got to put in treatment time. You got to really commit to it. And if he's not, he's only hurting himself.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this all goes back to the separation thing. I've preached all the last, couple games of the season and all off season, and a lot of other people have too. Separation. I think that was one of the biggest things in 2015. That stat we were talking about where Cam Newton's receivers had the least amount of separation on targets. That basically says Cam Newton's having to fit a ball in a much tighter window than any other quarterback in the league, and that's pivotal when you're trying to pass the ball, especially downfield. You go back in 2015, all those big plays downfield with Tegan and speed, they were separation. Cam will get the ball deep on a deep third. That's what he loves to do. That's why he holds the ball so long sometimes. And if that's what he wants to do, number one, we have to give him protection to give him that time. And then two, we have to give him a receiver that's going to get there and beat the guy downfield.
All right. The stream tonight is sucking. People are saying it's buffering now. So I'll get it fixed next week. I'm just going to have to tone down the quality a little bit. I guess it's because I'm trying to do that 720p stuff. It looks good, but I think when I start getting you guys in here, and then I'm starting to I'm bringing in video from other parts of the country, other places, it's a lot to ask of the internet and my stuff at the moment. So we will get it worked out, guys. Thanks for your patience. I'm trying to think if there are any other major topics that I did want to talk about. You can check out the C3 Monday Minutes. I talked about Matt Kalil and how Dave Gettleman has shown that he's really excited. He really believes in this pick. So I am excited to hear about that, guys. Is that now? Why wouldn't he say these things? True, but he acted like this wasn't a willy-nilly selection. So I'm happy about that. Also, I think that's about it. We really didn't have a ton to talk about tonight, so since it's already 9:45, we'll go ahead and start closing down the shop. Let's go ahead and just throw in our ice up picks for the night, fellas. Joey, I know you said you came prepared and correct.
Yeah, my ice up pick tonight is the NFL, and it's for a problem I can see potentially evolving. They made a rules change about instant replay, and now instant replay is going to be done on a tablet. One official will run to the sideline, grab the tablet, and bring it to the head official. He'll start reviewing the play. Simultaneously, the NFL office in New York City will get the review, and Dean Blandino is going to be watching it. He'll be able to offer his opinions and thoughts on the play if the head official needs. Is so interested in getting, and that's where I have a concern. Potentially, you have a game that could be decided by one man. Dean Blandino, who's not on the field, who hasn't had a feel for the game and doesn't know. He's watching this from a sterile environment, and I see the potential there for some issues. And I don't know that this is the best route for the NFL to have taken. I'm concerned. So I think they should have maybe waited on making this decision and just kind of thought it out a little more, let it get further down the line before actually making the switch. So for being impatient and trying to get an immediate satisfaction for football fans, I say ice up NFL. We should have taken their time with this and thought it out.
All right. They have committed very hard. They have committed fully to trying to shave some minutes off the game.
Yes.
And that's what this was an effort in, I think. But we'll see how necessary that is to speed up the pro game. I'm a little upset, and I'm not going to ice it up, but the halftime is so short. You can't even go get a beer.
I think
You're right.
I think one of the biggest things was coming back from a commercial, then doing the kickoff, and then going back to commercial. That's always been so dumb to me.
Yes.
So time consuming.
I just feel like I watch football and love football. So, I guess I've never just been like, it's Sunday. I'm like, I've never really noticed it. Now, I guess in college basketball at the end, in basketball when they start fouling everybody gets like that. And I feel like in baseball is clearly like that because it does. I've always felt like football had never lost my attention, and I was just like, oh, God, can we hurry this up? But I don't know. All right, Trip, go ahead.
Well, I had a couple different options, but you gave me a new one. I'm icing up your internet.
Yeah. Suddenly, ice up, son.
Yeah.
And my computer. For all the troubles it caused me earlier today.
All right. My ice up pick this week goes to I think it's going to Sean Hannity. And
Lord.
Sorry, Joe.
Mr. Political.
I was listening to it on the way home, and this isn't even a political take. Is that the guy said this? These are the words that came out of his mouth. He said, I've known many politicians who had to sleep in their office because they couldn't afford an apartment. He said because they couldn't afford a place to stay. Congressman. And he said, and the sacrifice they make in the service. And, like, it was just this weird... He really implied that these guys couldn't afford a place to live.
You are absolutely right. That is the stupidest thing he could have possibly said. I won't say ever heard, but that is a very dumb comment to say because they make enough money to be able to grab a hotel, even a motel, should they choose to. So that is just a dumb comment.
Don't misconstrue a guy who sleeps at the office because he works late and has a plush ass